15 minutes. I'm gonna have to go really fast because I have like about 20 slides, but most of them are about Hiroshima University. So just for my PR purpose, I would like to show you where we are located geographically. By the way, this gauging mission creep among public university campuses, the case of California State University and City University of New York. This was a result of a collaboration with my colleague Yasumi Abe, who is a theoretical physicist, doing his research in higher education. So it's really interesting to work with him. But I'm Satoshi Watanabe. I'm Vice President for University Management and Planning, making strategies at Hiroshima University. I was a visiting scholar here at the center from between 2011 and 12. So just briefly about Hiroshima University, we're not a giant university. We have about 15,000 students, of which 10,000 are undergraduate level and about 5,000 graduate level. And we have 11 undergraduate schools and 11 graduate schools. And this is the main campus in Higashi means East Hiroshima campus. So we're not located in at the heart of Hiroshima City, but more in the suburb one. And we are about 4 hours away from Tokyo by express, and 1.5 hours from Narita, Haneda Airport. Conveniently located. And we have 2 heritage sites, World Heritage Sites. The first one is right here. Itsukushima Shrine is famous for this visually appealing floating gate. And this is actually, we have another campus, actually 2 other campuses in city center. One is a university hospital campus. The other one is almost like an antenna, satellite campus. Of course, we have this A-Bomb Dome and Peace Memorial Park, which is really really great place. And we're trying to, as a university, we're trying to make connections too. And Hiroshima is famous for all these bridges, and all the bikers come to Hiroshima to enjoy this view on their bike. And we're trying to aim high. And lastly, we are the capital of sake. So if you enjoy sake, please, this could be final destination in Japan. So now the main topic of my research. Okay, I've been doing this for more than 5 years now. So it says what's happening in the state of Idaho. About 4 or 5, I don't know how many years ago, I was traveling in the US a few years ago, and I was reading on maybe newspaper, maybe it could have been a magazine, but the articles was talking about what was happening at public universities in the state of Idaho. And the bottom line was, well, right here, Boise State University, which was not research-intensive university, but because they're gaining so much research money now, they're becoming number 2, in the state of Idaho as a public institution in terms of the research funding. So after I read that, well, the bottom line was actually, so Boise State used to produce a lot of elementary and secondary teachers, but they almost, gave up on doing that. So who's going to produce the next generation of teachers? That was the bottom line of the article. But as an economist who's doing higher education research, I was interested in why this is happening, or is this happening in other states? Is this happening among the multi-campus university systems? So, but first of all, so I went to, as a researcher who used to work for the National Center for Education Statistics, I had a lot of, IPEDS data. So I opened up the data and looked at it. So University of Idaho in 2002, this is research money. So about $60 million they received. And by 2014, 81 million. But if you look at the second Idaho, which used to obtain about $8 million, and Boise State was the next, 6 million. But by 2014, Boise State was gaining $22 million. So, and when I say, NCS IPEDS, it's not perfect. It could be very messy, and the result could be very shaky. So this is the working paper level, but this is my motive to start this analysis a few years back. And you can talk about all the benefits of having functionally differentiated university systems. More differentiated university system offers students a wider variety of unique and quality programs at both graduate and undergraduate level, and so on. So, but do we have any university system that have done this effectively? Well, I don't know, but so that's probably one of the purposes that I try to do this. Is there any way that we can allocate our limited resources to multiple campus university system so that they don't have to compete too much, so that they will get exhausted and so I used the data and I looked at the 3 variables, pulled out total expenditures on instruction and research and public service. So these are the 3 key variables that I use to look at how their functions are kind of changing over the last decade or so. So this is what we found out. This is Chico State, California State University, Chico. In 2002, well, about 4.3% of the instruction expense spending that was allocated to the CSU system was spent by Chico State. Similarly, 1.8, almost 2% of the entire research money provided to CSU system was spent by Chico State. And public service, 0.4%, very, very small function they had in those days. But over these years, as you can see, the green part is growing. And now 2.6% of the entire public service budget was spent by Chico State, and 2.5 for research and 3.8 on instruction. So as you can see, Chico State used to be intensive instruction-based university, but they're trying to spend more money on public service. Okay, and I have to explain this purple lines, but I'm going to move on, and I'm going to talk about this CEI on the right side. It says CEI, which we named it, but it's not really our own. And this is what's happening at City University of New York Medgar Evers College. In 2002, their mission was, well, the highest weight was on public service. There's in terms of spending, and 4.4% of the entire CUNY system was given to or spent by Medgar Evers, and 2.2% on research and 5.1. But their function or their mission really grew in the area of public service. So now again, I don't know if this is true or not because IPES is a self-reported data set. So I really had to call them up and is this really true? And which I used to do when I was in Washington DC, and I used to call the individual universities. Is this really correct? But it's living in Japan, I can't do that. So, but that's what I'm going to have to do next time. But as you can see, if you look at the area, the ratios, it's not equally allocated, right? But now we have a lot more weight on public service. And this CI, Concentration Equality Index, that we came up with, it's kind of, is a measure for that. So I'm gonna show you the equation. I don't want to focus too much on that, but this is it. So theta equals 0 when the value of P, P is for the spending on research, instruction, or post service, are identical for OI. So if they spend the same proportion on each function, then it will be 0. So no functionally differentiated, no specifically targeted mission at all. But if a university spends 100%, well, if a university spends 100% of the budget on research and none for public service or education, or instruction, that would be 1. That's a very, very extreme case. As a university, I don't think you can survive. But this is the measure for that. So if you have a number close to 1, that means you have you know what you're doing, and you know the strength. We are spending our money in this area, but if you want to allocate your money, your funding or the budget to public service, research, and instruction equally, then will be close to 0. So that's why we have this graph. In 2002, this index was almost 0, well, below 5, but it increased to almost 20 something because this area received a lot of money, highest proportion of money probably among the entire CUNY system, colleges. So I did this we calculated the average index scores for California State University system. So I don't know how many, 20-some campuses. And CUNY also has 17, 18 or something like that. 4-year senior colleges. I'm not including community colleges in the city of New York. So this is what we found. The average scores of the index for CUNY is, well, gradually increasing, while the index score is declining for CSU, meaning that CSU is becoming more or less, similar universities. So I don't know if say Chico State puts so much weight on instruction, and I don't know, other Sacramento State places more weight on research. I don't know if that will be effective, but at least CSU is not moving that direction.
You need to stand at the podium.
Oh, sorry, but I'm loud enough, right? Well, actually, I'm almost done. So, but actually, I showed you the result for CSU and CUNY. I did a similar analysis for UC campuses too, and SUNY, State University of New York system too, and how their kind of missions are changing. So if you're interested, this was published from Research and Occasional Paper Series from the center like 3 days ago, right? So you can read. It's about 10, 11 page. It's a working paper, and I admit it. The data could be kind of messy, so I'm gonna have to do some data cleaning up. But I rechecked the data, which is contained in the data set, IPAS, but I didn't, in terms of calculation, I did everything correct. But I don't know, the source of the data is actually, like I said, it's a self-reported data, so I really have to do more analysis and more data cleaning and confirming with the individual institutions. So that's all.